Okay, boomerangs. Today I'm going to show you how to make one of these boomerangs. These are the boomerangs that I make for the Mananura Aboriginal Cooperative. Of course, I don't do the painting, I just make the boomerangs out of the timber. So what we're going to end up with is a blank boomerang. You can paint it yourself. Good luck trying to make it look like this. So it's a few processes involved, but first of all we've got to mark it out, so I'm just going to show you the marking out. Okay, it's a piece of plywood. I'll put a ruler over that for you so you can get some you can get a bit of scale. The plywood itself is 6.5 mil. It's the best quality I can find. I'll show you the edge of the ply. You can see it. Just give me a second. Alright, you can see that there's no gaps in there, and that's really important. No gaps. Okay, the core holes. If there's a gap in your timber, it's going to be a real weak point, and we don't want that to happen. Okay, so here's a ruler. I've got inches and centimeters on there for you. Let's see if I can see it. It's a little bit hard trying to be my own cameraman. Okay, so you can see it's about a 17-inch, 43 centimeters from end to end, and as you can see it's about a 90-degree edge, a little bit over 90 degrees. There you go, I've got one cut out, and as you can see I've followed the line pretty well, but I've just got a little bit left over on the corners down here. Okay, I've left them there so that we can sand them off. So I'm going to go over to the sander now. Okay, it's going to get a bit noisy, so I'm just going to sand it off, and I'll talk to you in a second. Okay, so I didn't explain how to cut the boomerangs out. Use a bandsaw, jigsaw, scroll saw, whatever works for you. Make sure you use a fine saw. Okay, so I've got quite fine sand in here, and I'm just sanding it to the line. Now, as you can see, I've sanded pretty close up to the line. It's not quite smooth yet, but it's nearly there. And what I've done is I've gone all the way around, and I've put a bevel on the inside, on the underside, all the way around. Okay, so in the process of doing that, I've got roughly a 45-degree bevel all the way around, which is going to make the next process a lot easier. Okay, so I'm going to switch back on, and I'm going to sand the flight edge on first, okay, which is the back on here. So I'm going to sand that on first. Right, switching on again. I have a jig here, and I'm sanding at about 15 degrees. Sanded that in there quite deep. It's about 15 degrees. Okay, the next edge I've got to sand is in here, opposite to that, and then in here. Okay, so I'll do that next. Opposite to that, that's what's got to come off now. So that's the side that was on before, and that's the side that's off there now. As you can see, it looks like we've got, as though the timber's twisted if you look down the edge there. You see that? I've got that there and that there. Okay, and I've got the opposite, that one and that one. So what we're making is effectively a plain wing. Alright, now this is quite sharp here, so I'm going to take a little bit off here, about a third of what I've taken off there, and similar, a little bit there, about a third. That's the most off, a little bit off here. Okay, and then I'm just going to give it a smooth over. A little bit off there.
Now it's really important that you follow which parts I'm taking most off and which parts I'm taking a little bit off. The idea is to make two plain wings, but one's facing one way, one's facing the other. So just make sure you get that right. Most of this work now, the way you can see now, is really just smoothing and just blending those angles that I've got together. I'm not really reshaping it at the moment.
Now most of that was just really taking just edges off and getting it overall smooth. There's no particular rhyme to the order that you do it in, as long as we end up with something that's not too sharp. What I've noticed here is I want to just smooth that over a little bit there. It's just a bit too angled, and just a little bit more off there. Okay, what I would do now is just get a little bit of hand sandpaper and just blend all of these edges together. Okay, and I use a worn out sanding drum and give it a good hand sand. Make sure there's nothing sharp to cut you with. A lot of people like to catch these boomerangs. I could keep going for a long time, but you get the idea. Now what I would do now is get a 320 grit, like a wet and dry, but I wouldn't wet it of course, and just rub it over until this is almost shiny. That's the edge, the first edge that I put on. It's called the flight edge. The key to this is that twisting effect, so it looks like it's twisted. That goes into the palm of your right hand, and you can throw it. Okay, that's how you make a boomerang.